Hello people, it's your Ambassador and Ambassador again doing his thing. As usual, I just stumbled upon these videos and I want to bring it to you. Like, talk about it so you can talk about it. Comment section, please. I want to see more comments. I want people to engage. I feel like we have that, should I call it, passive attitudes in Africa, like, he has said his own, and they're doing their own. And we keep on moving. But that's what is destroying the system even more because we don't think about our problems, hence we don't try to solve our problems. And those problems are passed on and getting bigger and bigger generation after generation. So I think the first step is for us to talk about some of these things. I'll be talking about Pan-Africanist kind of things, lots of our cultural things, educational problems, different angles to it. This time I stumbled upon this video where the lady was talking about African architecture.
Why are African huts cylindrical? Traditional African settlements in different parts of the continent have one thing in common: they are round or cylindrical. Why is this so? African architectural philosophy evolved on the basis of temporary human existence and life in harmony with nature rather than against it. In that regard, Africans deviated from building homes that stand in the way of natural elements like air, wind, water, and earth itself. As the air blows against the hut, it circumvents the cylindrical structure and continues flowing. If the water comes, it finds its way around. And if the earth expands and/or contracts, the rounder structure remains intact. How did Africans arrive at this conclusion? Well, legend has it that many centuries ago, there was a catastrophe that caused the once flourishing continent to be inhabitable. They migrated southwards, and the men built houses every 80 to 130 kilometers. But those homes were destroyed by strong winds, heavy downpour, and earth movements. This forced them to migrate another 90 miles or more to try again. Settlements could not be established as the cuboid structures men built continued to collapse. Consequently, the highly superstitious ancients consulted the oracle for the reason for the problem. The oracle responded with a teaching that the natural forces that are destroying the structures are feminine forces, and that only female ideas can stand against it. At that point, the females who mostly did the smaller crafts, like weaving and pottery of clay calabashes, came together to build houses in the same way they made the calabashes, roundish. Women used the female elements of earth, sandwiching the male elements of wood to achieve thousands of cylindrical huts across the region. The round hut building tradition followed through to the second migration and spread all around Africa. Today, in most traditional African societies who still practice their culture, women are the ones who construct the huts. For example, the Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania.
And it was something which I've always been very interested in, but I've not had enough, should I call it, information. But also, I remember when I was working, or still working, in some pygmies communities, and they were explaining to me the science around their houses, why the pygmies would build houses with leaves like they build, and then at times even those who have become civilized in the dry season they'll live in their huts that are built with leaves. Rainy season they'll move to the wooden houses, which is more secured and warmer. But the whole draconic science around those houses that look like they are. So this lady was just explaining even more, like the whole architectural thing. And I was thinking about, okay, the science which the Japanese have built, they are flexible houses which are resistant to earthquakes, where when there's an earthquake, the house can move and does not easily break. This might be the same science which we use to build the pygmies house to resist and coexist with the elements, but it's just because it's not documented and he's not an architect. Hence, it's not celebrated as an important, should I call it, architectural milestone. That the importance of building is to be able to shelter you, but take into consideration your elements. And even more important than the Japanese, should I call it, architectural techniques, is because this house the Japanese have built, in case it crumbles, after a number of years, it does not blend with the ecosystem and with nature like the pygmies house. The pygmies just builds his house with, should I call it, degradable material that can easily rotten and blend back into nature. So he's not using any iron and anything. He's using leaves, mud, things which can easily just, because they're always migrating, they want that, okay, as a leaf, it just breaks down, rots. You don't need to start having to recycle things and to look for machines to grind. No. when they leave, the houses just break down, trees grow back in the place, and then life moves on. And nature is they fit very smoothly with nature. So, coming to this video, I think first, it's when you look at the African architectural philosophy, it highlights the fact that we have come to terms with the fact that we are temporary human beings existing. That we have come to terms with our temporary human existence. Yeah, that's the way to put it. So we know that we are going to leave. So we don't want to build, like you see people building empires that will last for the next 200 years. You're not going to be able 200 years. We want to build houses that will last forever. It's good to think like that, but at times also counterproductive, because almost you are feeling like you are going to be here and your impact and your let it be for generations. It's just standing in the way of a smooth flow of civilization. Also, life in harmony with nature. I think the example I gave of the pygmies was a very practical one, where you just blend in with nature. All of these things of global warming and should I call it destruction of resources, natural resources, overconsumption, overproduction, is because human beings feel like we own everything, we can destroy everything, and nature does not have a voice because nature cannot pick up a gun and fight with us. But nature has its way of getting back at us. When those earthquakes come and those floods come, we don't even have tables where we can go and negotiate and sign a peace treaty. It will just do what it does. So, our architectural philosophy exists seamlessly in harmony with nature. And those are one of the things which are highlighted in this video. Also, we have always tried to build homes that don't stand in the way of the elements, which I highlighted in the Japanese architectural philosophy, but which is even more enforced in the African architectural philosophy. Which, as I said, some of these things down the line, I'll try to do a little more research and actually present to you scientific/documented things with them. But right now, I'm just reacting to these videos and telling you guys what I think. Also, in most of the videos, my concluding lines is more of what happened to this knowledge, our loss of knowledge. That's a very serious problem in Africa. From the health side of things, our educational side of things, to our architectural side of things, to our political side of things, to our economic side of things, we lost knowledge. I don't know if it was intentionally or unintentionally, or it was accidental, or it was just a natural happening. But at the end of the day, I know that we lost knowledge, which was very pro-African, and now it's very counterproductive because we are trying to be Europeans or westernized, for lack of a better way to put it. We can never be westernized, and we cannot really be 100% African again, because we have already moved so far away from our Africanness, where we are somehow trapped in the middle. We all start by having that conscious effort of saying, okay, am I going to fully go European and then blend in with this and then take it all the way? Or am I just going to go back to be fully African, existing in this global world? But whatever choice we make, we have to first start by assessing what the situation is, and then facing it and choosing to face it, and then making strategic plans or moves towards achieving this end goal. So the last thing is, I will look at present day architecture. I'm sure when you look at most of my videos, you will tell that I'm not living in any hut or grass house. I always tell people, like, all the things I'm talking about is not me saying that I'm better and you guys are wrong or you don't know about these things, and I know. I'm as guilty as all of you, and as active and participating in some of these things which I'm talking against. I'm also going through a process of educating myself to re-educate myself, and in that process I'm sharing these conversations with you because I'm actually going through that process of educating myself and re-educating myself on certain aspects. So don't bother to comment about you put on clothes, why you're not tying this, look at the house you are living in, it's not built by African. No, I already know that. I'm already working on that, and I feel like all of us should just self-assess and question ourselves and work on that. It's not about pointing a finger. That's not even the intention here. But the first step is to think about it. Be aware that things like this existed. Be aware of the intention behind some of these things. As always, I end with saying like, share, comment. Most importantly, comment. I need your opinion on some of these things. I need to know what people are thinking about. I need to engage with you on some of these topics. And that's how we're going to build a critical mass for Africa. And then we can bring about change in Africa. Till then, I'm just your boy, Ambassador. Just my opinion.